We on? Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Comedy Corner. Comedy Corner?
Like the question mark on it?
Yeah, I'm not. That's what I call it. Comedy Corner. We have Jameson with us today, who is in charge of the cameras, and he's wearing a cool headset with the mic in front, like if he's like on Janet Jackson tour. Who are you speaking to on there, Jameson? Marissa's watching right now, yeah. And she's gonna live edit or whatever they call it, live cut.
Yeah.
Did she catch that?
Probably did.
Okay.
Already edited it out.
This is Big Jay Oakerson, ladies and gentlemen. A very funny individual. He has a new card out. Is this like a debit
That's how
card?
we do albums now, yeah. That's it. You get 2 listens, that's it. And you have to put more money on it. It's a prepaid comedy album.
All right, what's happening here? You have an album out.
I do, yes, on Comedy Central Records. Those are the drop cards they gave me to give out to people. So there's a download on there. With all
And
the
the album
notes.
is all crowd work.
Straight crowd work, yep. It's taken from 2 shows. It's pretty much all just one show with
Where
a couple
was it?
bits
Where
from
did you-
at the
where'd you do
stand.
it? Oh, you did at the stand?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a great place for it because it's so tight.
It's great,
like
great
intimate.
club.
And there's
Great club.
people like right on top of you, so there's a lot of weirdos to work with. And it draws such a crowd of like just
How did you
idiots.
like? How did you promote it? Like, did you say you were going to do all crowd work?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, we let them know, which is good because that does help a lot. I do a show called "What's Your Effing Deal," where I bring comics up, which you should do sometime, where we bring up and no material. You just got to go off the cuff the whole time, 15-minute sets of everybody, and it's fun to watch people. It's fun to watch comics do that because it is out of their zone usually, but it's very much in my. That's what I like to do is go off the cuff. So that was but the more people in the audience know what's happening, like our last show that I did where I hosted it was we did the Village Underground, and that was fantastic because the crowd, for the first time, I feel like we've done it enough that now they know what they're coming in for, and when they know they're going to be like talked to and messed with, they're
the
way
thing
more
about
likely.
comedy is that, first of all, the crowd doesn't know, or a lot of them don't know, that when you go up regularly, it's a show. It's worked out material.
Sure.
They just think, oh, we're gonna go see some funny people.
Yeah.
They don't realize like it's like to some point it's an act. Like
It's amazing when that curtain's pulled too, like how fast they'll be like, wait a second. It's funny. I went on the Mayhem Fest tour, which is how do you describe it on Hot 97? White Summer Jam.
Okay.
And I performed in that thing, and it was very bizarre how like I'm trying to think of how to put this here. I don't know. I lost it. I'm a pothead. It's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone, just like that. Isn't that amazing? Everyone. Don't
the
smoke
description of the point or the entire point is
whole
gone.
thing. Don't even know where we were going with that. I was so locked into that White Summerfest line that I lost the rest of it.
All right.
Oh, I know what it was now. Got it back just like that.
Good.
Thank you, sobering up. Someone put a YouTube video of me performing on this, which is in front of like 25,000 people who are not there for comedy. They'd be like throwing comedy up at Summer Jam. Same kind of thing. It's like a weird thing to put in.
It's like bands though, right? It's music.
Yeah, it was all like rock, heavy metal bands. But someone goes, saw this joke. Well, I saw this guy perform a year ago at a comedy club, did the same joke. Guess he doesn't write that much. And it's like, Jesus, dude. Like, what a way to rake me over the coals. Like, this is an impossible situation I'm on. Performing for drunken heavy metal fans who have no idea comedy's coming. And his judging goes, write better, write more, not even better, just write more joke, dude. What are you going back to that old stuff for?
I have no idea.
Yeah, guess this guy doesn't write very much. Like,
and then that was like a comment, like a YouTube.
Yeah,
comment?
YouTube, exactly. It was great. I'd always point out the only black people that would be there. I'd always point them out and make fun of it, but like all love. You know what I mean? How I always make the thing. It's like heavy metal's great because it brings everybody together, and I start talking to whatever black people were there, and it was hilarious how the message boards would go everywhere from like. How it's like, enough with the black people, like nobody wants them there, from white supremacy hatred to people like stop kissing black people's ass so much, man, and move on. It was like the weirdest, like it was like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, leave it alone. Or
I've never read a YouTube comment in my life.
No,
never.
You can't. Why? You're not prepared to handle it?
No, I don't care. I don't care what people say, and I just feel like I don't have time for it. Like,
but don't you get Twitter hate? Stuff like
Twitter.
that?
Yeah, Twitter hate. Yeah.
What do you do?
Twitter hate is not as bad, but I fuck with people. I laugh with them, like
and
a lot of them. A lot of times, once you acknowledge them, they're like, nah, I was just fucking around. I was just trying to be.
Isn't that crazy? They go, yeah, I've had that before. They say, and then you go back at them sometimes, and I'll say something like funny and like mean or whatever, and then they're like, damn, man, you don't have to get all butthurt about it, man. I'm a big fan. I'm just saying, like, it's like you're just saying how am I butthurt because I said a funnier thing back to you?
I'm a fan. Like,
yeah,
how is that?
Your new thing stinks. Like, all right, dude, you're a jerk off. Whoa, man, I'm just a fan.
The new shit in hip hop is yo, I could get a flick. Yo, I'm not a groupie, yo. I'm not a groupie or nothing. I'm like, no. A groupie is a girl who would suck my dick right now.
Yeah.
So I know you're not a groupie. Yeah. Nah, son, nah. I just want to get a flick, like a selfie.
Yo, man, can I touch your dick? Yo, I ain't a groupie. I just want to touch it. Tell my boys.
Yo, go buy his. Do people buy it? Is that what they do?
Yeah, it's on iTunes.
Okay, iTunes. Big Jay Oakerson is called The Crowd Work Sessions.
Yeah, and then okay.
It's just one session.
What's your fucking deal? Yeah, well, that's
why'd you pluralize it?
Because it's hopefully one of a string we're doing. They want to do it. They want to do a few of these.
Think, Cipha. Think.
So, but yeah, Volume 1.
Think.
It's like the Carter 3.
First one.
That's the last Lil Wayne album I bought. Did it go further than that? The Carter 3?
Yeah, 4 came out. 4.5 and 5 is about to come out.
Well, now I just started Lil Wayne beef. You happy? Yeah. Come see me, Wheezy. I put it out there just like that. You know where I'll be at? You think he's listening?
Yeah, he's a very big fan of Comedy Corner.
You know what's funny? I always thought, I just told somebody else this, I always thought Lil Wayne, of all people, should go on like a Mayhem Fest tour. I think he would kill.
Yeah, he would.
I think he would destroy like a heavy metal tour. Not with the music. I don't think when he played the guitar thing necessarily would work. Yeah, but him, the way he performed at one of the VMAs I watched, when he did a Millie in that circle.
No,
he's performed. It
wasn't VMAs.
It was absolutely VMAs. It was Leona Lewis sang. First, he did "Misunderstood" with Drake lyrics.
Okay, I'm thinking of something else.
And he came and he had like a.
There was another show he did on MTV where it was like a circle, and it was like the band playing over Millie.
Yeah, no, this wasn't that. This was just it was a track of a Millie, but it was just him performing in front of all those performers, and that was such an impressive, such an intense, impressive performance. And I was like, when I saw that, I was like, that would, I think he would do great.
But Mayhem is.
Yeah, but the year I was
heavy metal.
Yeah, it was like Korn and Rob Zombie. I think you would do fine in that.
Is that heavy metal?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the newer, not like Slayer and
well, Slayer was. I don't think he's a good mix with Slayer and Metallica per se. That just brings like an older crowd. But like, I think an audience that likes Korn, Slipknot, bands like that. Slipknot's got a DJ in the band. You know what I mean? And then they're hard. They're heavy song like music.
It would rip.
But I think he would I think he would turn people around.
Yeah.
Ice-T just went out with his metal band and killed it on Mayhem Fest. Body Count. They just did they went on Mayhem Fest.
Same guys?
Same dudes, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, his band has same guys.
Did he wear his
no ponytail
top uniform?
Yeah. Detective Tutuola.
So you go to so crowd work.
Mm-hmm.
This is Big Jay Oakerson, guys. He has an album out, Comedy Central. You should buy it. You purposely go and just say shit to the crowd. Ask them questions. Is the crowd mic'd so you can hear them?
We did put mics throughout the audience, yes. So you could hear. I mean, they're not like, booming voices, but you could hear their responses and everything. And I repeat everything. I knew with this, especially with crowd work, having no visual element to it, I was going to have to be pretty descriptive.
Right.
And it worked, though, but it did work out.
Yeah, that's a cool trick when you're on stage and you decide to talk to someone and they say something funny and like the people around them laugh, but the people in the back have no idea what was said. So
yeah, it's a big thing. It's being like, knowing how to like translate that stuff. It said, especially in like, it's not so hard in the stand where we did the album. Thank God, because everyone can kind of hear you in there.
Yeah.
But I said when I've done like theaters and stuff, and I'm messing with the front row, you realize you have to let the people in the balcony hear. So that's a difficult thing. But
so you
it's kind of like it's the same interview process when you've done interviews before, but they're like, "Can you repeat the question?" And the thing. You're like, "How do I feel about comedy?" Well, let me tell you.
My favorite comedians are
exactly the TV shows I like to watch most, in no particular order.
So you fuck with the crowd, but like, do some of your regular jokes come in or not for this? It's like all crowd work.
No, but what's funny is, because that is how I write, and we were talking before about the concept of writing on stage. What's funny is there's two things on there that have since become bits.
Really?
That have evolved and grown and gotten bigger than they are on the album. But it's But that is how I write, sort of. So no, I didn't go into any material on this one on purpose. But like it's some of it's becomes material because that's how I work. That's how I do it.
You ever sit down at a desk and write?
When I first started, I used to do that, and I said unfortunately, when I write, it just does go immediately right to like things I've heard before. Not that it's stealing or anything hacky. I just go. What's the thing I'm gonna sit and write? It goes, oh, I was on the subway yesterday, and then I'm just like, man, that's just like it's just been whatever I'm gonna say has been done.
Everything's been done.
Just like everything that just like because it becomes a template. It's like you ever been on the subway and fill in the blank, see a mariachi band or a homeless guy or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's just like the same version of the joke. It's the same thing as the simple misdirection joke where it's like. The lead up, the build up. You're talking to your landlord. Your landlord's going to kick you out. He's going to, and then finally you're like, "Hey, listen, Dad," whatever. It's like it was your dad. The whole that kind of stuff. And those are the things I wrote when I first started. And everybody does. Those are early person jokes. But for some reason, my mind tends to work quicker and more unique because if I don't overthink it and I'm going back and forth with the crowd. And it brings up a story or something I did see today that was funny, rather than trying to construct that. Isn't it crazy when you're blah, blah, blah? It just becomes an organic thing.
Yeah, okay. It becomes an organic thing right there, that moment. How do you then remember it to say it again tomorrow or the next day?
Sometimes I don't. That's the problem. That's why I rely on friends who don't smoke weed to go, dude, how come you don't ever do that thing anymore? I go, because I forgot it existed. Here we go. I can't wait to get on stage tonight and do that again. I have no idea. I have no idea where that went. I just stopped saying it for some odd reason. What's also funny is I tend to remember like the dirtiest, so I get dubbed as like a dirty comic, which I am. But it's because that's what I tend to remember because it makes me laugh the most. But like someone's like, "Hey, what about a joke about going to your aunt's house when you were 10?" I'm like, that's 5 p.m. show nonsense.
That's crap.
Yeah. What about that joke about jerking off again?
What I feel you're I don't know. I hate to say this in a weird way, but I feel like you're blowing up lately. Your name is popping up a lot more. It's
been a while.
Realm.
Yeah, I've been doing. It's funny. I've been working with you. I've been doing shows with you for a couple years now, like since back at comics.
Right, and everyone always loved you.
It was great. I loved. What's funny to perform because you had a predominantly black audience, and it was so fun because I started off in the black circuit.
Yeah.
Only in Philadelphia, there was the Laugh House. It was the only club in Philly at that time, the only one. So it was that's where we started. Me and Kevin Hart started together, and Kurt Metzger, who couldn't be whiter, started off in these. And hilarious. But we started off in these clubs, and a lot of guys, especially white comics, don't get. And I'll use the term the benefit of that because it is to start doing comedy. Behind the eight ball that much, because you did have to get past because when you go up on stage like
eight ball sounds racist.
If you does it starting behind the cue ball, is that better?
Yeah.
How about the 9 ball? No one's worried about that. Asians. No one's offended by that ever. But we'd go up there and we'd really get like it'd be tough if you went up there without confidence. You'd get chewed apart. If the jokes were good or not, they just start calling you corny and start booing and doing Apollo sirens. Not even losing track. A black crowd would get like aggressive and boo you, and shit like that. And so to learn in that environment, and then I started pandering right away, like a lot. Did a lot of pandering, FUBU jerseys, and the whole everything I could possibly do, and it worked out for me as far as like doing better, but it wasn't. And then when I got to the mainstream clubs, and it was funny because starting that black circuit, they would call the mainstream clubs like the Stand or the Comedy Store. They'd call them the white clubs. Right. The other comics, like I'm gonna try to get in some of the white clubs. There are no white clubs. Doesn't exist. There's no such thing.
No.
The crowds are everything. Black, white, especially in New York. Indian, Asian.
There's definitely more white people than black people.
There's almost no white people at black shows, but the mainstream shows are everything.
It could be whatever.
It could be anything. I'd say you're right. I've never been to a mainstream club on a mainstream night that wasn't a large portion of white, maybe more white than anything else. But I mean, it just kind of is everything. You know what I mean? It's every kind of grouping of people. And so what was fun was to get my comedy to a point where I felt comfortable killing in like mainstream rooms, right? Everybody. So now I got to make a black, a couple laugh with like, 3 white college kids, an older Spanish couple, and you get all those people together. What's fun now is I do like to go back still and do like the black shows or the shows that are promoted by hip hop stations and get a shot at that crowd, because it's fun to do well. It's confidence, man.
Yeah.
What black crowds will respect right out of the gate is if you're not afraid of the black crowd.
Of course.
I always watched, I know that's notorious, and I hate throwing one under the bus in any way, but that Damian Lemon thing and I watched that and I was like, well, that was just his youth in comedy, I think is what showed there. But I was like, I would have loved to have a shot at that crowd.
Were you talking about at the April Fool's show?
Was that the one that just became like infamous? They started booing him, didn't they? Yeah. And I was like, I would love to almost have taken over at the moment they're booing him, because I think that's but I'm not. Damien was at a point in comedy at that point. He was younger, you know what I mean? So it's like that shook him, as it should have. That would have shaken me. When people would boo me, I'd walk off stage early.
Like, that's a 5,000 boo.
Still, there's still
a stronger boo to him.
Sure, no, it stings, but there's just like there's answers to that riddle. Like he could have figured it out. Right. He could have gotten it back.
You know what's funny?
I heard one thing was the concern was like they were saying because he just followed JB Smooth.
There was a lot of factors against him.
But sometimes the factors you think are against you, again, it becomes your own confidence and part of you. Go ahead.
He went out, started off slow. Now, when you do those kind of shows, those what do you call them? Black shows, urban shows, whatever the type of show it is.
If we're being politically correct, urban.
A lot of comedians come out to music and do like a dance.
Sure.
You notice? There's always like a dance. Like, what? Oh.
Yeah.
He didn't do a dance.
Nope.
So right off the top, he's losing. Then he started off like kind of slow, like kind of light. He didn't hit him right away. So they started booing him. Then they stopped. And he got them. And then he like reminded them of the boo. Then there was literally one guy in the crowd that was like, nah, it's fun to boo because everybody's looking at me like I'm somebody tonight because I'm going to boo him again. And literally like one guy started it up again. So he got them back. But this one dickhead, and then it was just a wrap after.
But why not make an example out of that guy? There's so many ways. My point is just being like, again, it's just becomes seasoning. Damien's a funny kid, man, really funny kid.
Yeah,
I want to make that like. Sure, I'm not saying anything about that. It's youth, it's experience. Right. There's a lot of things like that. That would have never like. I would have loved to do that crowd, and I wouldn't dance when I came out, and I would sit down on a stool, and it would start maybe slow, maybe not. I think it's like I'm a little more aggressive verbally. But not aggressive where it's like I'm not dancing and going in the front row.
What's up, motherfucker?
Yeah, I'm like shake. I mean, but that's But I definitely but Patrice O'Neal would have destroyed in that show.
Right.
But about one of the factors they always said about going after JB Smoove and that being like a factor against you was like one thing. Touré, do you know Touré at all?
Yeah.
Touré was the guy who was like doing it for a while when me and Kevin Hart and Kurt all first started in Philly. So we would kind of get advice from him just as a guy who just knew how to get on stage when we were still nervous and didn't know how. And I worked with him in Maryland at some gig. This club's not even around anymore. It's called Jokes on Us. But we were I don't know if we were co-headlining or I was opening for him. It was one of those two. But whatever it was, before our show even started, they go, Robert Townsend's coming and he's bringing in Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker's going to go on and do some time. And so Chris Tucker went on and did about 45 minutes. And they're saying to us, he goes, he's going to wrap it up now, but he goes, do you guys still want to go on? And my instinct was just kind of like, no. Like, they've seen what they want to see. It goes, and Touré was like, no, we'll go on. And I'm almost like, don't answer for me, dude. Like, I don't want to follow Chris Tucker just like. And it wasn't even like a Chris Tucker like murdering. He did well, but it was like he did well, but they were excited. But he did get that first 20 minutes of like, holy shit, Chris Tucker's here. Especially because like, he's not even known for stand-up really anymore. He did like those Def Jam sets, and that was kind of it.
Yeah.
And Touré just goes, yeah, man. He goes, listen, they paid $10 or whatever it is, $15 to see us, and they just saw Chris Tucker do an hour. He goes, they are in a great mood. He goes, it's your game to lose. Now he goes, all you have to do is be funny.
Yeah.
They won't. But if you go up there like not confident, like, well, sorry, you got to sit through this. He goes, they're going to turn on you. But if you go up there like, hey, what a show so far. All right, let me do my thing now. Yeah. And he was right. And I went up there with that attitude, and we only did like 20 minutes apiece, but like it was fantastic. It killed, and it was a lot of fun. And I was happy I learned that kind of young because my first set ever at the Comedy Cellar, like booked set, which is the club everybody kind of covets to get into in New York, for following Ray Romano and Kevin James did a two-man thing, and I went after that. It was my first time on stage ever, and I spent 8 years every night going after Dave Attell, who's a beast.
Yeah,
you know what
crazy.
I mean? So he's the guy who's like, everyone looks at as one of the best ever. He is. So I had to go after him every single night because that's how the lineup was just written, you know? I can't do anything about it. So that's all like huge steps. So those things, like I said, like Damien could have handled that better, but it's just experience. It was a thing. It was a shame, but it's like to see it happen. But
I know and then like
it'll shake your confidence too.
We had a little. I don't know if it's an issue, but like he said something at the stand the other night. He kind of didn't do well, but nobody was doing well. And he goes, "I always have weird sets in front of Cipha," and I was like, "What? How did I get into this mix?" So I called him up and I'm like, "Yo, why'd you say that? Like, do you think I have a certain feeling towards you?" And he goes, "I'm glad you called me." I was like, "Oh, fuck. What's happening?" He goes, "Yo, you know, first of all, the April Fool's show, the Buddha." I said, "I don't give a fuck.
Who cares?
What the fuck do I care?"
It's over now.
And he goes, "No, then I did your podcast and you never put it up." And he was explained that night. And I was like, "Oh, really?" I say, "Yo, my co-host Rosenberg is in charge completely of the podcast because when I was in charge of it with him, he would do shit that would piss me off and I would want to fucking strangle Rosenberg." So I was like, "You know what? You handle the podcast." So I didn't even know it wasn't up. And then that night at the stand, I said, "Yo, my man, if there's any weirdness between us, it doesn't exist. It was misconception and miscommunication." And I was like, and then he was like, "Yo, I'm glad you called." Like, you know,
that's cool.
But then but then like, I mean, everybody's bombed. Like,
sure,
it's great now. I actually like it now.
Well, there's something to be taken from it, man. You take your licks, you know. Definitely. It's like, you know, it's funny. It's I heard Greg Fitzsimmons, a very funny guy. He's a comic.
I don't know him. Fuck him.
But he's a very good comic. But he was describing they were asking him on a podcast. I heard Barry Katz, who was the guy who used to own the Boston Comedy Club. If you remember that in the Village, and just managed like everyone in their prime. I mean, literally like Dane Cook and Dave Chappelle and everything. And they were asking. He asked Greg Fitzsimmons, this comic, who he thinks like the good comics working now, and he started listing off and he said he included Michael Che and Gerard Carmichael. You know Gerard, right? Yeah. And he made a point about them. He goes, the sadness in those guys is they've gotten so much so quick that they're not going to get their 10,000 hours on the road.
Right.
And I never heard that put like that before, but I thought it was such a cool statement, like they're 10,000 hours. And it's like, yeah, you need all that. You need to go eat shit. You need to have a crappy weekend in Detroit performing because the crowds just aren't getting it. You know what I mean? Or being like lonely in fucking Dayton, Ohio and shit. You know what I mean? Bro. And it is. And I go out on the road. It gets lonely, and you have cities where you're just like, I'm not vibing well with this city. Yeah. And I don't know if I've been doing it like 16 years, so I don't really, at a comedy club, I don't really bomb, but there's definitely crowds where you're like pulling teeth with them, you know what I mean? It's like, holy shit. And there's shows still when you go out there and you feel like the crowd wasn't into it, but like, take something from that, you know what I mean? Like, and that's what I said, like, as far as like liking it, it's just like, you're like, oh, this is different, because sometimes you get used to it just going well all the time, like, what's the, you stop learning stuff
variety,
from that. Yeah, it's nice to have like a crowd where it's like my favorite shows now are the ones where I say to the crowd at some point, I'll ask a very early on a question. What is this? Is you guys together? Oh, it's our third date. He goes, did you guys bang on the first 2 dates? And you just hear a thing in the crowd. Oh, and I go, I just tell the couple, I'm like, they'll come around. Like, they'll be here with us in a minute. Like, they gotta, like, just go. You answer the question. Don't worry, because I've just been booed. I've had chicken thrown at me. I've been in fist fights on stage. I've been in fist fights after shows. I've been in all kinds of situations you could think of that it's like the crowd go oohing and awing in the beginning instead of laughing. It's like, we'll get them. That's fine. I have 15 minutes to work, 20 minutes to work, or 45 to work.
Whatever
what kind of show I'm doing. We'll get him back. But that's like I said, that comes with time. That's what Damien didn't have the benefit of at the time. He was very young in comedy. So to get that kind of like 5,000 people, I remember going in front of like 150 people first starting out, and them booing me and being like, "So you guys ever go?" I'm just gonna thank you guys. It's my time, everyone. It's praying for that light to come on. You're sweating profusely.
The worst. It's a crazy profession you pick.
I used to when I did the Black Clubs, man. My ending set used to be getting down to my underwear on stage, posing like I was bodybuilding to a thing, and I mean, chairs were broken, people laughing, so fucking hard. It used to destroy.
Right.
And then the last time I ever did it, and I remember me and Kevin Hart, both of our sets had so much music. We have to travel around with CDs, and like, you know, and Kev would be like, "All right, when I talk about how white people walk into a club, you got to hit track 7 on this one." And then when I talk about, and he hit all that, and I just had the 2001 theme for when I'm going to do my bodybuilding joke and get down to underwear and just be fat. You know, I'm 70 pounds heavier at the time than I am now, so it's like just being fat, and it just, but it always fucking killed until you realize that's not comedy, because it's the same thing. That's the problem with like some like low level comedy, especially on TV and stuff. Like putting fake teeth and humping stools and outfits and all these.
Not
goofy,
comedy.
It's all these goofy things. But I'm getting down to underwear. They're laughing at you. They are laughing with you because it's the joke you want to put out there. But it's too easy. And the quick way to learn the lesson on that is the first time I did that joke that it doesn't. My jokes weren't working, and I remember the first thing I would do is I would take off my shirt was the first thing. And usually that was like the first, like people like cheering and like woohooing, and this time it was like it's because the song's also like slow build, so it's kind of quiet in the beginning till it builds to that crescendos every time, and you hear someone go like, as my shirt, someone just goes, "Oh God," no claps or cheers, no laughing, and as I'm turning around undoing my pants, I'm like, I should stop now, but I didn't because I was already in it, and I go and I just drop my pants. And I hear someone go, "Jesus Christ." And I'm turning around and I'm posing. So my face must look terrified. I'm just posing in these bodybuilding stances and no one's cheering or clapping. I'm just being fueled by this laughter. Right. And that music would stop and I'll be posing in like a Hulkamania pose. And that was, everyone was going so nuts. I'd usually be like, "I'm Big Jay, good night, motherfucker," and walk off triumphant. But when that music stops and it was crickets, and just hear a voice in the back just goes, "What the fuck?"
You gotta get dressed.
It took me, it felt like it took 40 seconds to pull my pants up. I kept like grabbing them and missing them. And then walking off with my shirt still off and going, just like all the other comics like, "Oof, that's tough." And I learned that lesson to that day. Like, because I've seen so many comics still do jokes where they're on the ground and it bombs. You got to get up and dust yourself off and be like, "So that's my thing about dating," you know? Like, and you're like, "Oh man, your fucking dress pants have fucking dust all over them from the floor." So yeah, to have those things, it's risk versus reward. Those jokes have high reward, but the risk is when it's not real comedy and that gets exposed, then you look like a real asshole. So as much as that joke is killed, that one day is worth 1,000 of those kills. You're like, not worth it for that to go that bad. When it's like, it's not even something. There's no passion. No one goes, "You haven't seen the genius of that guy taking his fat guy taking his clothes off." No one would say that. It would never happen. So that's the.
So what? Why didn't it work that day though? Was it the same type of crowd?
No, that's what it was. You know, to get to the point of that was funny. What we would do when I started in the Laugh House was a black club. Yeah. Power 99 was, I don't even know if that exists anymore, but that was the hip hop station in Philly, and one of the owners of the club worked for the station, so it was heavily promoted on the hip hop station. Right. So the people came out on Thursdays was like the open mic, and it was like 40 comics would go. It'd go for hours, but people were just there, man, and like the local celebrities would show up. So Michael Blackson would come in, and that was like, he was a legend because of BET Comic View appearances. You know, all these things that these Tommy Too Smooth and all these guys who were just like local Philly like heroes to the black comedy scene, and everyone would just go on. It was just like, just taking off my clothes in that environment just worked. It was a party, man. Everyone was drinking. It was young. It was whatever. And on the weekend, when it costs a little more money, and the weekend crowd came out, it was still a black crowd, but now this is more like, you know, sweaters and dresses and, you know, like, I don't want to say church people, but...
No, they got, like, working people.
But yeah, you know, exactly.
They can't be out on a Thursday night late.
Right, and I just, like, at that point, I had pandered my set so much to, like, yo, you hear Pete Diddy's new bullshit song about whatever kind of thing I was talking about, you know what I mean? I would go into all that. So this crowd just didn't get that. So as I said, what was happening was I pandered so good in the young crowd with my P. Diddy jokes and you can't have superheroes in the hood and whatever other like hack concept I would do. I was so good at doing that that by the time I was taking my clothes off, they loved me. Do you know what I mean? Like I was doing well with these shitty jokes already. So when I was going up in front of that crowd, like, you know, ghetto Superman, they just didn't get it. They were just like, the crowd is like, just what are you talking about? So when your jokes are bombing, to see a white guy nervously, a fat white guy nervously taking his clothes off in a room full of black professionals, it was just
no, you can't do
that. Should be, I'll be honest with you, that should be reparations. That should have been what reparations is. A fat white guy having to get naked.
So everybody
sorry, black people. Sorry about slavery. That's right. I'm sorry about slavery there. I've done my reparations.
So Big Jay Oakerson album, Comedy Central. Go buy it, iTunes. Apparently there's a card.
It's a download card. But on
for me, or can I spread
that's
this
for you.
around?
No, you could do whatever you like.
How many downloads you got?
1. I'll give you a couple. I'll give you a couple more if you want to spread them around.
I'll just bootleg it. I got all types of recording equipment here.
If you pull that shit and just get it out there. I'm not going to become a millionaire off that goddamn album. Just let people hear it.
And then what happens with, you have a radio show.
Sirius XM is going to be coming out, in January. We believe it's going to start.
You already had the show.
We did a 6 episode run.
That's
Me
it?
And Dan Soder. Yeah, they wanted to see what we could do. Yeah,
6 episodes.
That's it.
I've heard it more than that.
Nope, no, we only did 6. I mean, I do the Ron and Fez show a lot.
Maybe I guess I caught it during the 6 run.
But yeah, that's what it was. We did 6 episodes. They're all up on YouTube if people want to hear them and stuff. It's called the Soder Show. But it was a lot of fun. We were playing comedy bits though and talking in between it. But now we're going to go to full-fledged talk show.
Full talk.
Yeah,
I thought you were going full-blown gay.
And full-blown gay. Wait, by the way, I want to say 2 things about. You said before I heard you announcing the Chris Brown Trey songs.
Yeah. Is
that a weird concert name for 2 dudes going on tour?
Trey Songs, Chris Brown's, and Trey Songs Between the Sheets tour.
Isn't that a weird? Am I crazy? That's a weird title for 2 dudes. Trey Songs and Chris Brown Between the Sheets.
Tiger.
Yeah, that's not making it any better. I don't think.
Tiger doesn't make it better.
And then
Tiger makes you think of like Siegfried and Roy. Now it's super gay.
Now it's super gay. Now we have Chippendale's Patrick Swayze hair. Chris Brown. Someone showed me the other day. They were like, was it Ari Shaffir? I think, who's a hilariously like tall, lanky Jewish comic. But for him to show me this was great because we were going. I showed him the Kendrick Lamar SNL performance, which was fantastic. Did you see that?
No, my intern was watching it.
You should watch it.
Cool.
It's really, he does the song I.
Yeah.
It's an amazing performance.
Right.
So I showed him that, and he goes, "Oh, have you ever seen Chris Brown when he first came back after all the drama, the Michael Jackson thing?"
Yeah.
And then when it was over, I made fun of it so much that he was like, "Yeah, maybe it wasn't that good." I go, "This is a performance of him just crying to Michael Jackson music." I'm like, I wasn't that touched by it really. The first part with the silhouette, killer, and then it's just 5 minutes of watching him cry to Michael Jackson songs. And I don't even know what he's crying for. Is he crying because they're clapping for him after all that shit, or is he clapping? Is he crying because he misses Michael Jackson that much?
It's all that.
I used to ride that Ferris wheel every weekend. Now what? Who am I gonna? Why did I buy all this llama food if I'm not gonna hang out with the King of Pop anymore?
Are you a fan of hip hop music?
Yeah,
or you
absolutely.
only like the rock stuff?
No, and it's funny, man. Grow up in Philly, I rock was like my closeted like music for so long. Yeah, I was way in the hip hop, but I love it.
Just making sure.
You know what's funny? I don't get as familiar with like new stuff. That's why when I find it, I get so that Kendrick Lamar. Like I'll go listen. That performance was so good. You know what it was? Hip hop lost me, and it's getting way better, way better. Performance, live performance, man. It was so. We were saying before. Me and my buddy Mike were just talking before about I saw Wu-Tang live in their prime. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen, and I went to that concert only to see Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
I've seen Eminem live when he was younger. Too many of them. Eminem, I saw in concert one time, just paces back and forth on stage with a hood up, but just angry. But I watched. But to give some insight, when I first started coming to New York, it was me and Kevin Hart were driving up, and Kev got a movie with Rockefeller called Paper Soldiers, and I'd go with him to the Rockefeller offices every day, and because we were driving up together, and we'd go in there for a couple hours, and I was bullshitting with Damon Dash in his office one day, and he has Kiss videos the band Kiss and Bon Jovi and all these like weird. And I'd be like, even I was kind of like, what's that? And he goes, concert ideas, man. He goes, those guys are rock. He goes, he goes, hip hop guys have to learn how to be rock stars, man. That's a real thing. It's
crazy.
The performance is lost. And he goes, you know, say what you will about whether you like Kiss or not. I'm not a big Kiss fan, but you know, explosions and they spitting blood and there's a show to it. And I thought that Kendrick Lamar, why that caught me was he had contacts that made his eyes all blacked out, the lighting, the singers behind. He just put on an amazing show. That's
amazing.
Lost.
Drake puts on a great show. Jay-Z now.
Great now. Woo. For a long time wasn't good.
Yeah. But now, like the Jay-Z and Beyonce show, it was like a musical, like a Broadway.
Yeah. I'm not a big Kanye West guy, but Kanye West performer knows how to perform. When he does something live, you always want to see. You know, he's wearing a mask.
Rock at Gibraltar, whatever that fucking rock was, man. I need to put it down, baby. So you're from Philly. You ever heard of Meek Mill?
Yeah.
You ever listen to Meek Mill shit?
I don't listen. I'm not familiar with the stuff, but I know the name. Sure. I remember. You remember? Did Ram Squad ever make it out of Philadelphia?
No.
Remember Ram Squad?
I think Ram Squad got into trouble with the law.
Probably Gilly the Kid, right? He was one of the guys.
Gilly was out for a while, and then got into some beef with Birdman and Cash Money.
Yeah, they were always involved in some kind of. But Freeway
was around
Philly.
For a while.
Beanie Siegel was Philly.
Yeah.
And I listen to so the newest stuff is where I just need more like help. But I mean, I stay like I go on World Star Hip Hop every morning. My first website. Keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on every morning. I know, so I tell you all the. I can't tell you. I don't think a 2 Chainz song, but I know what he looks like. I know what he sounds like. I know. You know what I'm saying?
Like Drewski, World Star every day.
Oh, every day you gotta see what's going on. Shit gets ratchet out there.
How do we? You got to get on World Star.
I'd love to. I know. I see all those stand-up things.
Train.
You know, like I was gonna say, I thought we were going to throwback stand-up things or something. When I did P Diddy's Bad Boys of Comedy, they got to put that up. That's maybe one day I got to get a little more famous.
All right, you're on your way. So look, his name is Big Jay Oakerson. He has a card out and an album. It's called The Crowd Work Sessions because this is the first of many. All crowd work, hilarious.
It's called It's the Crowd Work Sessions, and this one's called What's Your Fucking Deal?
What is it?
Yeah, that's what's
right there. What's your fucking deal?
Yep, that's what it is. So it's the next one would be called Big Jokes in the Crowd Work Sessions, and whatever else we name that one.
I didn't see that part.
It's fine.
It looks like a Starbucks card. That's why. And how do people find you?
Big Jay Oakerson on Facebook and Twitter, both. So
talk to people.
Yeah, I handle my own thing. Yeah, and I go back and forth, and I post my dates.
Meet a lot of chicks on there, or?
Oh, well, my chick likes chicks, so yeah, throw it at me. Yeah, you got to find one of those. It's fantastic.
No, I'm not into it.
What?
I'm not into it.
What happened? Why?
Nothing happened. I don't know.
Too much?
I've been offered threesomes before, and I'm like, nah, I'm okay.
Always say no.
I've never had one.
Really? Offered, you said no?
Huh?
What was it? Like, give it to me like wrestlers. What were they in a combined weight of?
No, good looking like girls I was with, and they were like, hey, maybe it's time we take it to I'm like, no, all right.
Jealousy?
Am I jealous?
Be jealous of your chick hooking up with another chick?
If it was like my girlfriend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Dude, I don't
like my girl, like
your girlfriend.
No. Yes.
I live with my girlfriend. I live with my girlfriend. I love my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Even a random chick was talking to another chick, I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking to her for?
Really?
Oh, you fucking hit it on the nose. I couldn't figure it out. I'm jealous. Holy shit.
That's a weird, I don't know. I can't get jealous of chick stuff.
Of guys do? You do?
Yeah, I got a thicker tongue, I have bigger fingers, so that's fine. Let this girl do whatever she wants to try to do. Have at it.
How many threesomes?
Look, I don't have a big dick, but I'm not going to be jealous of a vagina. My dick's bigger than that.
How many threesomes do you think you've had? That like
no, it's not that many. But I mean, like just I'm saying, if I was trying to give you a specific number, no, probably like 10.
Oh, really? That's it?
Dude, they're not super easy to organize. There's plenty of girls who will be like, hey, let's fuck, and then if I try to go now. Look, I was a piece of shit for a long time in other relationships, so. And now it's trying to be like, well, you want to come back with me and my chick? Some girls are like, nah, I don't want to do that. So, and you lose a few like that. So it's not super easy to organize.
I don't know. Maybe because I don't.
When it works out, it works out.
Yeah. No, but I'm no good. I'm no good at meeting a girl. It pops off that night, and then like the next day you see her again, and she's like, "I'm gonna bring my friend." Never happens to me.
Oh yeah,
these are girls that I'm like with for a while, even if it's just dating, if it's not serious, but with them for a while, and they're like, "Oh, would you ever want to try like threesome?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Dude, my chick's hot, but in my life of my lack of confidence more and being, I said I was even heavy, like way heavier than I am now, and everything. I've already had 2 or 3 threesomes though that were just like it should be a comedy. I mean, like it was just.
I've heard you talk about.
You could have built shelters for the homeless with those girls' underwear. I mean, like it was fucking. Yeah. Oh, and it's amazing. The funniest thing in the world may be like 400-pound girl confidence. Like when they're confident, it's always so bizarre to me.
Hardcore confident.
Oh. No, so I know. Just take off their panties and like pointing to, like, what do you want me to do? With no way. No way.
Yeah, there's some Puerto Rican girls that are
their
like,
pussy lips have pussy lips.
Large and in charge.
Oh, just looks like book pages down there.
And on that note,
that's it.
Thank you for joining us on the Comedy Corner. No, seriously, yo, very funny guy.
Sorry, Lil Wayne. I have no beef. I think you're the shit.
No, beef with him. Beef with Wheezy.
Come see me, motherfucker.
Go see this guy, man. Big Jay Oakerson. He's at the Stand and Comedy Cellar and all over New York City and your town, too. Bitch.
Yes, indeed.